Jalen Hurts looks like he's ready for football. This is a picture of Jalen Hurts dropping back, just throwing in a t-shirt, no pads. I get it. And we've been kind of making fun of this all day on Instagram. Everybody joking around and playing with other people's quarterbacks that are throwing in shorts and doing little jump throws. And then when our beloved JD5 throws through a net, might I say is very impressive compared to these other videos. We go crazy. So I get the contradiction. I get the look isn't good for anybody to be pumping up their own guy and then be tearing down another player for their video in shorts and t-shirts and no pads. But sometimes you can tell when a player's ready to rumble, and JD5 looks like he's just on a whole nother level than Caleb or JJM or any of those guys. This guy right here is massive. You can see right in front of your face there. Top five team in the National Football League loading in the Eagles. NFC champions loading, in my opinion. This is a very, very changed offense, and we're going to talk about that in a minute and how that could be potentially an injected concern into the conversation. You could say, well, are they all going to adapt to a new offense? Because everything is changing. 95% of the offense is different, said Jalen Hurts. Now, what does that mean for the brotherly shove? Will Sirianni make sure and force feed that into the offense, or will we see less of that and more Barkley, more touchdown passes? This is a Kellen Moore system, which you can think Dallas, right? Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. That's what you're getting out of this offense with Kellen Moore. He's not just going to come in and do what the Eagles have been doing. Sirianni might force the brotherly shove into the mix, but this is going to be a very different offense. That's good and bad. There's risk and there's upside. We'll talk about that in a minute. We got Malik Nabers making an insane catch today, but he's in shorts. He's doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. We're pumping up that catch. We're pumping up this. We're tearing down that. JJ McCarthy, there's some news on Sam Darnold maybe not relinquishing the starting job ever to JJ McCarthy in 2024. We're going to break all that down and more. AR5 has a sore shoulder. He's sitting out. Fantasy Football Show, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. That show, it begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So let's start off by talking about Hurts and just kind of closing this situation out before we jump onto the next topic, because I think this is probably the most important part of the show. Jalen Hurts is going to have a remarkably different year than he did last year. Last year, they were not in sync. They were not in unison. He still exploded. He was still a top 6 quarterback, I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, 11 times out of the 17 games. I believe it was 11. Top 6 quarterback 11 times. He was unbelievable. But Kellen Moore is going to bring an entirely different offense. This is an entirely different team now under the command of Kellen Moore. And this was the problem with the Eagles last year. They had all the talent in the world that almost trumped the chaos that was going on, right? Talent almost carrying a very broken team from a structure perspective, from an OC and DC perspective. Shane Steichen ripped from the OC job and planted over in Indy, developing our boy AR5. Let's go AR5. AR5 season is here. Obviously, I kind of ruined that. I'm not concerned about the shoulder, right? You can tell by my standing ovation. But Shane Steichen goes to Indy. What he did with Hurts, he will do. Develop AR5 and turn him into a top 6, overall monster. Jalen Hurts is one of the coolest cats in the biz. This guy is calm. He's cool. He's collected. He's a leader. the team wants to follow him. The players love him. They revere him. They trust him. He's the guy that when the crap's hitting the fan, everybody leans in, looks around, and they just trust him. He's calm. He's collective. He's going to 100%, I believe, thrive in this new environment and take this challenge on of learning a new system. He said this is 95% changed. Everything is 95% different. 95% entirely new offense that he's learning. Even the cadence, the descriptions, the descriptors, the play calls, everything is different. Kellen Moore comes in and deploys very much the Dallas Cowboys feel to the team, right? Lots of passing. There's going to be tons of usage of the RB. Okay, so anybody thinking, Barkley's not going to get a ton of receiving yards because the Eagles don't throw to their running back, right? Kellen Moore throws to his running back. Kellen Moore's probably feeding Barkley 300 to 350, maybe 400 yards receiving. And that might be hard for a lot of people to understand, a lot of people to accept. And that's to our benefit because we're drafting the hell out of Saquon Barkley in round 2, are we not? We are doing that, and we're doing it live. Saquon Barkley, we even got him in the background here. Saquon Barkley, where are you? Where are you, kind sir? There he is, and you can see from this graphic right here that Sirianni, when trying to poke fun at Giant fans that were ripping on him on social media, he said, we got your best player, which he does. And Barkley's going to absolutely have quite arguably a top 4 to 7 running back season. And, there is the limitation of him, as we talked about yesterday with a lot of the debate that we had on about him being drafted above Gibbs or drafted above Hall. You just can't do it. It's not that he's not capable of being that good. I've said it myself. He could be 1 to 5. He really could be the number 1 running back in fantasy football in 2024. I wouldn't bank on it. I wouldn't guess it. I wouldn't do my rankings that way. It's just a possibility. And so you got to ask yourself, where you're taking him, are you accounting for all the risk? Aldi says, isn't he an injury risk? Of course he's an injury risk. But that's why you're not taking him at his ceiling value. Like the caller yesterday that said, don't we just draft him ahead of Gibbs and Hall? No. And Bijan? No, you don't, because then you're not packaging in the risk. You 100% want to attack this situation from a baked-in perspective. Is the risk baked in? You got to bake it in. If you don't bake in the risk, you're not playing the game. You got to play the game. Don't let the game play you. And Barkley at 2.1 and beyond, so your second drafted player, no matter what we're talking about, your second drafted player is a home run to smash Smitty. Barkley as your first drafted player, the game is playing you. Doesn't mean I just said, he could be running back 1, but you have to package in the risk and bake it in. If you don't bake it in, you're not gonna have a full pie come out of the oven half the time. You're taking too many risks instead of letting it all come to you. Let the players come to you. Let the value come to you. Maybe you don't get Barkley in one of your leagues. Boo-hoo. Cry home. Go grab Jahmyr Gibbs. Poor you. Maybe you got Breece Hall. But Smitty, Barkley's my favorite player. I need him in all 7 of my leagues. You are not going to win. On average, you are going to hold yourself back from being the best version of yourself in terms of fantasy football management. It's all about discipline. Let me give you the best tip I can give anybody when it comes to best ball. Unlike some of these other, use this, do this, always draft this, always draft this. 50% match on your first deposit. By the way, up to $250 by using this link right here. And we're drafting at midnight tonight, like we do most nights. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Link has been dropped in the live chat. Let me pin that link in the live chat right now. It's pinned. Link's been pinned. You want to draft with us tonight? Hit that link, promo code Smitty. This is the best piece of best ball advice I could give you. And you really feel this when you do slow drafts. My best advice to anybody to work on this: go into Underdog right now, the link's right there, and go to the 8-hour timer. Go to the Go to the Best Ball Mania. Go to the Superflex Puppy Draft. That's $5. Go to the $10 weeklies. Whatever contest you want to go in. Click the 8-hour timer. Okay? Because it says 30-second draft, 8-hour draft. Join. It'll load for a second and then show you how many are left to join. Back out, 8-hour timer, join. It'll load, it'll show you you're in the draft. Back out, 8-hour timer, join. It'll load, back out, 8-hour timer, join. Get into about 5 or 6, maybe even 7 drafts at one moment, 8-hour timer. Number one, you're going to be on the clock almost every hour throughout the entirety of your day. If you join about 7, 8, 9, 10 drafts, slow. And you get the nighttime, they add on more time. And this way, I'm just telling you right now, the best advice I can give you, pull it up. It works on your patience, number one. But number two, when you're on the clock, every single time, pick the best player available. Consider stacking when you can. But this also gives you the feeling of you don't need to stack or draft the same exact players. When you do one draft and you've got the same guy there in the third round, you have a tendency when you're doing one draft to continue to draft the same player over and over. You don't have any variance. But when you have 7, 8 drafts going on and you're doing them at the same time, slow style, because you don't time out, and you draft Barkley in the second round, you know you've got 2 or 3 shares going right now in 2 drafts side by side. And so at 12 or 13, when you don't want to push it and grab them too high, you won't be pressured to do it. Doing 8 slow drafts at once is the best way to learn how to control your urges of drafting the same players and drafting them out of pocket. It gives you a freedom of drafting best player available. And you truly have control. And I never say, oh, damn, I need to go there because I've got 7 or 8 of them rolling at one moment. It's the best way to draft. Hurts is going to the mother freaking moon this year. Hurts is going to have he's going to be a top 6 quarterback again 11 times probably this season. And not to mention a couple more number 1 or number 2 overall scoring opportunities for him to lead the league, each week in fantasy football scoring. This offense is going to be off the hook. Kellen Moore is going to lift it up. There is concern, I guess, if you want to throw any concern whatsoever. Not on defense. They drafted 2 of the best corners, if not the 2 very best corners in this draft. No, not on offense. They extended both wide receivers and made them happy and gave them bank. No, not the running back. They brought in probably the best free agent running back we've seen in 10 years in Saquon Barkley. They're going to be unstoppable, this team. They're going to run the table. They're going to be the NFC favorite by midseason. Easiest prediction I can make. Now, will the Niners compete? Depends how healthy they are. Yeah, if they're healthy, they'll definitely be in the mix. The Niners are a top 2 team in the NFC easily in terms of talent. But if they're banged up, they've got a lot of older players. Shanahan injures his players. There's a lot going on there. There's the wide receiver room's kind of a mess right now. It's tough to say, but it is the Eagles and then the Niners in waiting. Are they healthy? Then they're definitely competing. That's no shade at the Niners. Niner fans, you know what Niner fans will hear? Instead of saying, yes, Smitty's respecting the Niners, giving them like the second spot right now. All they hear is, oh, you hear Smitty? He thinks the Eagles are better than the Niners. Niner fans don't even know what I'm complimenting them. I'm giving you the second spot right now. I'm telling you that this team is loaded. This team right here is playing under Kellen Moore's thumb. And this is going to look like the Dallas Cowboys aerial assault. And you've got 2 wide receivers in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Kellen Moore didn't have that in Dallas. This is a better wide receiver room overall. You got Dallas Goedert as well. You got Saquon Barkley, who can catch as good as anybody in the National Football League. And before you open your mouth again and say the Eagles don't throw to the running backs, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. Jalen Hurts just told you that 95% of the offense is completely changed under Kellen Moore. They're going to throw to the RB. So Hurts has way more of an arsenal of weaponry than Dak ever had, and he's twice the quarterback, in my opinion, than Dak is. Even though Dak can put up good numbers playing a Kellen Moore system or a la McCarthy system, obviously there's the ability for Dak to produce and do well in this system. Hurts is a better quarterback. Hurts could have that 1 year where everyone goes, holy crap, this guy took a whole nother big step forward as a gunslinger, and maybe even took a little bit of a baby step back running the football. Maybe there is less brotherly shove. I don't know how much Sirianni's going to have a hand in forcing that into this new 95% of the offense has changed. Maybe the other 5% is the brotherly shove, but we all know that's used more than 5%, so tough to know. Tough to know where it's going to go. All I can tell you is I believe in Kellen Moore. I believe in Sirianni when he's got the right pieces in place. He's not the guy you want calling plays. He's not the OC. He is the delegator-in-chief on the team, and he does a damn good job when he's got the right people below him. Shane Steichen, Gannon. Those are perfect pieces to have under a Sirianni. But this is a well-oiled machine. Well-oiled machine. Defense... Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, defense is much improved, offense is much improved, and the play calling and scheme is much improved. They're going to the moon. It's a top 1 to 2 QB season for Hurts. It's a top 5 to 10 running back season for Barkley, and Hurts looks jacked up. He looks absolutely just massive right here. Look at this man in amazing shape, can out squat almost every single lineman in the National Football League. In fact, one of the only few people in the entire National Football League that can squat more than Jalen Hurts is the running back lining up behind him in Saquon Barkley. These two together, I can only imagine what this is going to look like when you got 1 yard to gain. Which do you choose? Who are you stopping? Barkley's right here. Hurts is going to fake the brotherly shove, pitch it to Saquon, and this is going to be unbelievable. Saquon's never, ever seen this kind of offensive line. Saquon Barkley's never even heard of this kind of offensive line, and we've never seen Saquon Barkley balling out and playing in an environment like this, so we have no clue what kind of production he could drop. He could drop 1,800 rushing yards. He could drop 1,500 rushing yards and 400 receiving. He could get 1,900 to 2,000 total yards and 14 plus touchdowns and 55 receptions. Do not count out Barkley being a huge receiving threat in a Kellen Moore system when you've been told today that the system's 95% different than it was last year. Don't say the Eagles don't throw to the RB. Don't say it. You're embarrassing yourself. Because this is no longer that Eagles team, which is the only risk I can find here, is that the changing of the offense takes some time and they start off slow or something like that, which I don't think will be the case because you're talking about some of the best weaponry, some of the best players in the National Football League, and one of the best offensive weapons and minds, I think, at the quarterback position in the NFL right now. People acting like he's folded. He's been figured out. He's a gadget. He can only run. He's a halfway good passer, very good runner. Get ready for the Jalen Hurts show. It's coming for everybody. Now, I think this is important to address real quickly. There's not a lot to go on here. There's not a lot that we have to worry about. We've got potentially AR5 has been sitting out and resting his shoulder. But we heard a little of this yesterday. We weren't concerned. And quite honestly, this guy has been at it like crazy trying to make up for lost time. And the thing that I'm hearing from people close to the situation, that as close as you can get, in terms of just news and people that I do talk to, like I got Raj and those guys really close to the Niners situation. I got a little group close to the Patriots situation. I got a little group close to the Colts situation. I can get as close as I can get. People that say they have these big, massive sources per source and don't reveal them, I'm not telling you it's like that. That's absolutely ridiculous when people act like they're breaking news. Schefter, Rappaport, anybody that says they got a source but won't name them, they're either a rat. They're either a rat in the organization letting it leak, or they're BSing you and you're believing it because they have a little inkling of something and they're trying to like make themselves look cool, and they're wrong half the time. And the other half, it's just a really good guess that everybody else is kind of thinking anyway. Like the moment Deshaun Watson almost went to the Falcons, people said, I heard on good authority per source, it's happening tonight. And it was about to happen. All these people thought they were going to be Twitter famous because they went out and pretended they had a source, and then he switched it up and went to Cleveland. And all those people got left hanging, looking like fools. I've got a source. I don't have a source here, but from what I'm hearing, this is a situation where he's still a rookie. All intents and purposes, he couldn't, with the injured shoulder, go out there at all until recently, right? And get to know this offense, throw to his players. He played 3 full games. And you could say this is a negative. I'm not going to say it's a negative. I'm going to say he's not that far advanced from where JD5 is going to be. I'm looking at I'm looking at Anthony Richardson like he's a rookie again. To some degree, he's played 3 games. Wasn't like he played 10. Wasn't like he played 6 even. He played 3 games, which he did amazingly. But he had shoulder surgery. He's out there trying to make up for lost time. So he's out there overworking himself, and his shoulder is sore. Not just because of the injury, but because he's not used to throwing that much, trying to get used to running an NFL offense for the first time, really, as he was a rookie last year and didn't even get that much work. So some of it is related to, okay, maybe it's a little sore because he's overdoing it, but not injured, not a worry that there's some sort of problem, but he's just tired from going out there and throwing as much as he is to try and make up for lost time. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing there's no concern about any integrity of the shoulder. There's no risk for this thing getting injured or anything like that by throwing. It's just a mere, it's a long year, and let's keep this guy healthy. He's got soreness, sit him out. If he doesn't have soreness, put him back on the field. No one's concerned. No one's worrying about it. And let me tell you this, the last thing I'll say, if this lowers his value, and I sure hope it does, we are there to pounce. If this guy's going to go where he was going was round 5, 6, right? So if we look at this and we say round, thank you, Say Word, and thank you, E-Rock, for those previous super chats. You guys rock. Here's I do got one more super chat that is new here that I'll get to here in a second. I'll drag it on screen, John. Appreciate you dropping that. Here's round 5. Here's round 6. Here's round 7. He was going kind of in this territory. If you're telling me that he now drops to this territory, we no longer have to take AR5 in the 5-6. We can now get him in the 6-7. I'm pouncing on that all day long. And I might even take him, even in redraft, even in non-best ball. I'd be tempted in round 7 to grab him, even if I already had a Hurts, just because of the trade bait you're going to have. I do not condone the double drafting of a tight end, though. In case of the quarterback, look, I don't know. It's just one of those 7th round values crazy for him. In best ball, it's a home run, the bully system, but it depends on how active your league is. I do not recommend this with 2 of the top 3 or 4 tight ends. You'll never get rid of them. I've seen it time and time again, and it's very hard to do this with quarterbacks, but when you start getting into the 7-8 range, I don't care as much. Like you're getting into almost a flex territory. And so it's an interesting proposition to grab AR5. AR5 was traded for Puka Nacua last year in handfuls of leagues. People, even after Puka Nacua was firing off and was amazing, that was the kind of value AR5 got when people lost Burrow, people lost Kirk Cousins, people lost all their quarterbacks dropping like flies. Guess who I saw and constantly consulted people with who had AR5 and another quarterback? They traded AR5 away, got Puka Nacua. Just absolutely one after the other. People doing that left and right. And it was when Puka was worth absolutely a crazy astronomical amount. So that's the kind of value you get with an AR5 if he is a top 5 quarterback, and he's an absolute value there. John with the super chat and Calvin with the super chat. Let me hit these real quickly. Appreciate both of you. $10 hauler from Calvin. Calvin, I'm coming for you next. Let me get John's out of the way. He's been waiting. Dynasty Superflex, QB Stroud, Dak, like it. And Bryce Young. Brees, Kyron, ETN, phenomenal. Puka, Pittman, Ayuk, Hollywood, JMO, love it. Maybe consider getting Pearsall in this type of build. McBride, Kincaid, smash. 1.2, what moves to make it? I mean, you're good at running back. If Caleb goes 1, you got a dilemma because I love Nabers. Nabers going into the long-term plan of your team. We're going to talk about Nabers next for redraft because Nabers had a phenomenal catch and everybody's going crazy on Nabers right now. And I want to address it from a truthful perspective, which is a little bit of excitement, a little bit more excitement today than yesterday. I'll admit that. We'll get to it in a second, but there's still some hard realities we got to look at. But for you, bro, if JD5's there, I'm taking him. If JD5's not there and Marvin Harrison Jr. is gone, oh, you're at 1.2, not 1.3. Okay, so Marvin Harrison Jr. is my pick. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, I don't care who else is there. You got a good enough quarterback stable in Dak and Stroud, take MHJ. If, let's say, Caleb goes, you got a dilemma. Because you got JD5 and Marvin Harrison Jr. You can't even look to Nabers. Nabers is a nice thought, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is just my bona fide 1.1 and super flex, non-super flex. It depends on how hurt you are at QB. I'd probably say MHJ's there, you take him. If MHJ goes 1, you go JD5 and you don't look back. That's it. It's that simple. If JD5 and Marvin are there and Caleb goes 1, you've got a dilemma, John. And honestly, I would probably take MHJ if it was me. Just because you're so set at quarterback with Dak and Stroud. I'm not worried about your quarterback situation at all. So I'm taking MHJ. But you know what I'm trying to do? Get back into that 1.3, 1.4. Every time you see him fall, like let's say JD5 fell to the third pick or fourth pick, try and get those spots while they're on the clock and somehow try and get JD5 and get Marvin Harrison Jr. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is the guy that I'm picking with your quarterback situation. And it's JD5 over all their quarterbacks, and it's not even close. It's not even a question. It's not even a competition. Calvin with the $10. Hey, Smitty, off subject, was listening to Washington player interviews today. OTA. Let's see. Tackles. Are you talking about the offense? Offense will run the ball a ton and use a lot of no huddle. Sounds like B-Rob will be active. Yeah, I think that there's going to be a good run game, but JD5 is going to be part of that run. You know what I mean? So I don't know how much I feel. This feels a little bit like the situation where it's kind of like Barkley, right? Barkley got a lot vultured from Danny Dimes. I like B-Rob. I just don't know that B-Rob's going to feel one-dimensional, I think. Plus, Eckler's taking his PPR. JD5's taking his running and vulturing some of his rushing. I don't know that there's enough consistency for B-Rob to be a bona fide locked-in starter. And the problem you're going to have with B-Rob is you're going to end up putting him on the bench, and then he's going to have a big game. And it's going to be really hard to trust him for a whole season. He'd be better in best ball, B-Rob, than he would be in redraft. That's going to be my initial assessment. But I'm not worried. Think about this, bro. Kingsbury doesn't, whoever you're hearing this from players, whatever, Kingsbury doesn't just run the ball. He's a air raid, even if he doesn't deploy air raid system entirely, and we've heard different things. He is a passing, offensive-minded guy. He is an aerial attack guy. So I wouldn't put too much into anything you hear that suggests this is going to be like a run-first offense like the Chargers. It's not going to be that at all. It's going to be JD5 on the ground a ton, but JD5 is going to throw a massive amount of touchdowns for a rookie quarterback. It's going to be phenomenal. So there's that news. Jalen Hurts looking jacked. AR5 not concerned. Now let's move on to the Malik Nabers conversation, which I think is needing to be had right now because people are going absolutely ballistic over this catch he had today. However, I want to very much, as I said earlier, pump the brakes a little bit on some stuff that you see in pads. Now, I will say, like, when you see a skill drill, like JD5 throwing into a net, showing his accuracy, very different. Whether he's in shorts or pads or people are there, it doesn't matter. It is a very specific thing that we were impressed by. Him throwing to JD5, throwing to Ben Sinnott, him throwing to McCaffrey on some nice little throws. They're okay. Like, we pump it up, we talk about it, but it doesn't make me feel like we know too much more than we did before, right? This is a remarkable catch that he made. It was a hands catch. It wasn't a body catch. That's what's great about Nabers. The problem that if we were to break this down and say, look, we got to make sure that an amazing catch, great hands, we know he has all this. This is against the Giants defense. This is the Giants offense against the Giants defense. In shorts, in shirts, without the starting quarterback. Danny Dimes didn't throw this pass. This is thrown by Drew Lock, who probably won't start week 1. So there's a lot of problems and moving parts here to expect consistency from Nabers his rookie year. This doesn't change too much for me. I'm very excited about the skill that this guy has, and I'll be the first one there in line in 2025 if he got Shedeur Sanders or he got a quarterback. He got the second or first ranked rookie quarterback handed to him, and we're excited about that quarterback. Like, if we feel as good about this quarterback as we do Penix Jr. right now, then to the moon for Nabers. And Nabers is going to have a good year. Nabers will find a way to get 1,100, 1,200 yards probably receiving. He's definitely going to have, I think, 1,000 yards. But he'll probably have like 1,100, let's call it 1,100, 1,200 yards. Let's just say he has the most remarkable yardage year. There's not a lot of room in my mind for him to have more than like 4 or 5 touchdowns in an offense that will struggle to move the football down the field. In an offense that their best quarterback is going to start off as their backup QB. I do not believe in Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is going to absolutely not be in the lineup all year long. If he even is in the lineup week 1, he is still recovering from a torn ACL. As much as I love this type of stuff, as much as it does excite me, as much as I'm right there with you guys, I look at this and I say to myself, I'm excited. Never once have you heard me over the last handful of weeks, months say that Nabers will bust. He's not good. You've always heard me say, love him in 2025. Love him in 2025, unless you get him at a good cost. The problem is, this type of hype is going to climb him into the bottom of round 2. He was going in the bottom of round 2 a little earlier. He finally fell down to about mid-3, top of 3, mid-3. This kind of catch, one catch, this monster catch going viral everywhere is going to have everyone and their mother wanting to get him in redraft, in best ball. And if he climbs to 24 overall, I'm sorry, I'm out at 3.4, 3.5. Maybe I'd take him at the bottom of 3 when he felt like a 4th round player. Basically your 4th drafted player. You're drafting 2 side by side, but I'm not drafting him as my 2nd drafted player without any quarterback at all and going off of a practice against his own defense. Also, one thing to keep in mind about Nabers is that, look, his team was above it was about, if I remember correctly, tied for 13th or 14th in the NFL in drops. They were not like the first team in the league in drops. They might even been 16, actually. They might have been, I think there were 16, I believe. 16, tied for 16 in drops. So they were not 1, 2, 3, not top 10. And so it's not like there's this unfound volume there. It's that the offense doesn't necessarily provide the opportunity for a receiver. He will definitely carve out more of a role. He'll definitely make the offense move and matriculate down the field. He'll definitely make the Giants live in the red zone more than normal. But yeah, Jimmy the drunk just said right here that Nabers just went 14 in my best ball. It's crazy that happens. You can't do that. You can't take him in the top of round 2, let alone anywhere in round 2. The touchdown production won't be there, not for that value. So I'm gonna say it doesn't change much for me. It makes me very excited for the future, but that's it. There's no loving this value. This right here is kind of a crazy piece of news that just broke recently. That Darnold is potentially, here's this news, that this is coming from Tom Pelissero. He says Sam Darnold may never relinquish the starting job to J.J. McCarthy in 2024. So saying that Darnold just looks a whole lot better than McCarthy. And here's the part that I want to like pump the brakes on in terms of like this meaning something positive for the Vikings or for really JJ, is that, you know, Zach Wilson also looked good, even during games. There's times that Zach Wilson, who does have ability and talent and skill, could go on a practice field or in a game, throw a nice shoulder pass in the corner of the end zone. But there's a big difference between being a baller and having some physical skill and talent and ball placement. Zach Wilson he's just like that. Like even right now, you hear some whispers about how good he looks right now in practice. Okay, is he going to be the starter in Denver? No, he's not. But are some people whispering that he could maybe impress enough to get in consideration? Yeah, people are already doing that because that's what Zach Wilson does. Shows you a little glimmer of hope, and then you realize he's never going to be a top 15 QB, like even close. He's never going to be even a top 32 QB because he'll get replaced eventually because he can't win or be that guy for an entirety of the game and be a difference maker. Sam Darnold's no different. He might look good. Matt Maiocco, whatever the hell his name is, the main beat writer for the 49ers, said that Sam Darnold to this day throws the best football in 49ers history. And he never started a game, but he said that he threw the best football, the most pretty football, the best, I guess, spiral and toss and just looking football and nice throw, low pass, good trajectory, like the best looking football in 49ers history. This guy never played a game. And so, you hear those things and you say, this is a good practice quarterback. Like he looks good in practice, but it's practice. Zach Wilson could look good in practice. It doesn't matter. We already know what Darnold is. We already know, and if Darnold's out playing JJM, then JJ McCarthy's got a long road ahead of him. I don't believe in JJ McCarthy in terms of being elite enough to make JJ what he was with Kirk Cousins. So now, because of the marriage between JJ and McCarthy, Justin Jefferson can't really be the same Justin Jefferson of old unless Sam Darnold proves me wrong, goes out and balls out, because I don't think McCarthy will. I think McCarthy could be good enough. He could be Jimmy Garoppolo good, survive in a system for a while, not get kicked out of the NFL or anything like that, but be a decent quarterback. Not a great quarterback, a good quarterback, possibly too, for a year or two. Jimmy was a good quarterback pre-ACL, not a great quarterback. Post-ACL, he was never good. So I'll just tell you, I don't like this situation for JJ. I don't like that his two quarterbacks are battling it out. Sam Darnold is probably, according to Pelissero, not relinquishing the job to McCarthy, so McCarthy's not looking great. And if we all know Darnold's not an elite quarterback, I don't know what to expect out of JJ. So big concern for this situation. We've got, I believe, another piece of news somewhere. Oh, I think, yeah, this one's kind of Mecole Hardman. I wanted to bring this up. I wrote this on my Instagram. I said, Smitty, my take, makes you wonder if the paid exempt list or other news is soon dropping on Rashee Rice, meaning that is the NFL going to put Rashee Rice on the paid exempt list, or is the team thinking of doing something? Have they heard something very bad that we don't know about that's going to drop? Some sort of news dropping, because why is this something that's happening right now? Breaking news, the Chiefs are re-signing Mecole Hardman per source. It's just something... Obviously, there's some of the new kickoff rules that maybe apply to this, so we'll hear about that. But they're also, attacking that with the rugby guy, so we'll find out. But it certainly makes you wonder that when something like this happens, sometimes another piece of news follows, and so I just wanted to drop that. And then there's this here. Look at these all whites right here. These all whites look fantastic. I like these uniforms. Good looking uniforms. And then there's also a report saying that the Eagles couldn't wear green in their Brazil game, or neither team could wear green in their Brazil game. And you got to wonder if that, because of the gangs, I guess they're not allowed to wear it, but they're also not allowed to leave the hotel, and they got to be like escorted in vehicles everywhere. You gotta wonder why we sending them down there to play if this is the kind of like security level that's going on. You can't even wear green in the game because of the local gangs or something. Why are we sending this game down to Brazil then? Does anybody ask that question? Is that a unpopular take? Is that a incorrect way to think? Is that a sensitive question to ask? Why are we sending them down to Brazil? Money. Because of money? But why are we doing it? Can't we find another place to throw these players into to make money? Because it's all about damn money at the end of the day for the NFL. You're sending two teams, to a location where they can't wear their green uniforms on the field. Does that make any sense at all? Is that one of the dumbest things you've ever heard in your life? Phone line's open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Look, I got a lot of international viewers because we're like Prestige Worldwide. We're global, baby.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, buddy.
And I don't mean this to come off bad. So please forgive me for this take, but for all my international people, please don't unfollow me or stop watching for this take. But I don't like these games. I'm gonna say it. I don't care how insensitive it sounds. I don't want the NFL expanding these games into different countries because this game is played in this country, and I don't know why we're playing the game. If we were to expand into a different country, let's say we give Canada a team, I understand, obviously we're going there, but like, why are we taking, I know it's about money, you don't need to explain it to me, I'm not a moron, I know it's about exposure, everything's about money, I get it, it's all about money to the NFL, but I don't necessarily agree with it because you're putting a strain on the players. It's all about the game. Not about money, but it is to the NFL. You're putting a strain on the players. You're making them travel. They play badly when they travel. The product sucks badly when teams are tired and traveling and tired. So guess what? We get a shitty game. We usually get a much shittier game, a watered-down version of the game, because the NFL wants to make a bunch of money. And maybe no one else will say it. I'll say it. I'm sorry. International peeps, I love you. You can still watch the game, right? You don't necessarily probably, I would say the average person international watching right now probably didn't even go or take advantage of going to any of the games, right? Doesn't even benefit you. I don't even go to games. I don't even go to the Cardinal games. I watch everything on TV anyway. How does it affect me? Because I'm up till midnight answering questions. I'm up till midnight my time, 2 and 3 a.m. Eastern, answering questions. Sometimes maybe 1:30 a.m. my time, 3:30 and 4:30 a.m. Eastern, answering start bench questions on Saturday evening. And I got to have a game start my time at freaking 6 a.m.? I got to have a game start my time, 6 a.m., a crappy game. I got to wake up and look at the score at halftime and see it 7-3. And I just don't understand why we have to do this. Why we have to put players in these positions. Now we're sending a team to Brazil, 2 teams to Brazil that can't even, when we pick green-colored teams, we're going to send green jersey teams to a place where they can't even wear them because the gangs won't allow it. And the players can't even leave the property without being escorted because of the gangs. And we're happy because we're making money. We're sending teams to a country that can't even wander around and they can't wear their color green. How does this make sense? Watered down product too. I don't like it. I'm sorry. Sorry, phone line's open. I might have missed like a few calls when I was screaming.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I find it really hard to believe that even 1 out of 50 people watching right now disagrees with me. I would love to know, and if so, it probably is an international person, and that's fine, and I love you. I love you. I'm so glad you found my channel, and I hope I'm here for you. And it's probably like, what? Your time is probably 3 a.m. and I'm probably an inconvenience for you. Yeah, this is Prestige Worldwide. We are international here at the Fantasy Football Show. Okay, Smitty, I like you even more knowing you are an AZ says Doomsday. Thank you. Appreciate you. I hate waking up because I can't. I'm doing start bench advice till 1. By the time I get to bed, it's 2 or 3 a.m. on a Saturday night. Probably 2:30 if I'm lucky. 2 to 2:30 if I'm lucky. I can't get up at 6 a.m. do my entire day, all the live streaming I'm going to do, the post-game stuff, the start bench show. I do a post-game wrap-up after the afternoon games typically. I do a start bench show after the Sunday night game. I can't be up at 6 a.m. It's such a burden. And for what? To see one touchdown and a field goal at halftime? I'll wake up around halftime. I see that it's 7-3, and they kept throwing. If I remember correctly, they kept throwing Trevor Lawrence overseas. I felt like every time I looked, it was Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars that were overseas. Am I wrong about that? I might be misremembering that, but it was insane. Doomsday just became a YouTube member. My guy, appreciate you. To the moon, pal.
To the moon.
Phone lines open. Dial in. Appreciate you. It's a novelty. I agree. Can't be good for players. I sleep on... What is this question here? I sleep on the weekends around 10:30, 11. Nobody watches the international games before halftime. That's the problem. Is like, yeah, you're maybe getting good exposure and getting new viewers, but like, what is the United States viewership, number? What do those numbers look like? Because on the West Coast, I bet you lose about 40% of the viewership. Not to mention it's halftime crap game because everybody's tired, everybody's traveling, no one's in tune, and then even coming back from that game, depends on if you have a short week or not. I don't know. And a lot of people don't like to say it. I'll say it. I don't care. I'm not even trying to offend my international people, and I think my followers are smart enough to know, like, this is not personal. And Smitty not liking international games, if that makes you unfollow my channel or something in your international, I don't know that you were that into the show anyway. Like, my opinion shouldn't make you run. Gray says, no, you're not wrong. It was Jacksonville twice overseas. Yeah, it felt like it. It felt like it was. I felt like I'd turn on the TV and there's Trevor Lawrence playing on a Thursday. There's Trevor Lawrence playing overseas. There's Trevor Lawrence like had kind of a bad rap. It felt like last year in terms of a schedule. That's the way it felt anyway. And that didn't help. Ridley, and Ridley was one of the most targeted wide receivers in the end zone last year, which is why I'm excited about BT. Which is why I'm excited about Trevor Lawrence in a way, and why we should be kind of excited about Ridley, I suppose. Although he's learning a new system, changing teams. Travis, what's up? You're live. Oh, he had to hang up. A lot of people watch the international games on the West Coast, especially if their jobs related to the... Okay, John. John, do you ever agree with anything I say? A lot of people watch the international games on the West Coast. How do you know that? Do you have access to the data? Do you have access to the live Excel sheet? Come on, John. You just disagree with everything. You try to disagree with everything I say. You know damn well the viewership on the West Coast is down for the international game. Stop. Just stop. Travis, you're live.
Hey, what's the time zone difference from, what are they, a little bit closer on the West Coast?
Ziggy, what time is it in Brazil?
Seems to me they're further away.
Brazil has multiple time zones.
Oh, great.
In Sao Paulo, it is 9:54 p.m.
9:54 p.m.?
Second alarm set
So wouldn't it be
9:54 p.m.
No, I don't want an alarm set for Brazil time, Ziggy. What the hell you doing? Now I'm waking up to... Damn it, Ziggy, mother...
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Son of a... Ziggy, cancel my Brazil timer.
You don't have any timer set.
Yes.
You have an alarm set for 9:54 p.m. Would you like to cancel that?
Yes.
9:54 p.m. alarm cancelled.
Thank you, moron.
My pleasure. Just doing my job.
No, you're not.
Hope you've enjoyed your Thursday.
I haven't. Ziggy, volume 10. Okay. Good God.
My pleasure.
He's
Just doing my job.
He's setting an
You
alarm.
enjoyed your Thursday.
Ziggy, shut up! He's setting an alarm for Brazil time. He knows how I feel. He's listening. He's eavesdropping. He sets a Brazil alarm clock for me. So 9:54, that is literally 4 hours. Different.
Yeah, it's even more than an East Coast game.
Holy
The East Coast is 3 hours. So why would that benefit the West Coast? Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, it's not. I guess it's not as bad as it could be, but yeah.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is like it's like an East Coast game for time zone for the West Coast is 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's even more. So
I guess it. Yeah,
would be off by more.
I guess it could be a lot worse. Where's the Ziggy? What time is it in London? If you set a timer, you
In London,
son of.
it's 1:55 a.m.
Okay, 1:55. So that's where we get hit.
Yeah.
So I guess Brazil's not too bad, but it's still horrible. Well, there's multiple time zones in Brazil though. So
All the logistics.
yeah.
Right, and all the logistics of it, the travel, and then if you actually move a team to, like the Jaguars owner wants to move the team to London, and if you do that, you have to send you have to play 3 games over there, then come and stay in the States for 3 or 4 weeks because you can't be going overseas.
How is that fair? How
forth.
is that fair to an NFL team to have a 2 homes? How is that fair? It's not fair. It's greedy by the NFL. It's disgusting, to be honest with you, and I wouldn't want to be a part of it. Who would want to be on a team? And they're not going to get any players.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're the London team. Who's going to want to go play for the mother freaking London, Lugnuts? The London Lugnuts. Who wants to go play for the London Lugnuts? who have to try and recruit people? Like, hey, it's great over here, bro. You'll like it. Come on over to London. You get to go to the States. Half the time we stay at this cabin. we play at the local high school those 3 games. It'll be great. We'll definitely be able to sign Dak Prescott on the London Lugnuts next offseason. There's no doubt about it. You'll want to come.
And they have a salary cap, so they can't overpay, And then what it will end up being, it'll end up being like these crappy baseball teams that don't spend any money. They're basically like a feeder system for the rest of the teams. Once their guys play their rookie contract out, they're gone, and they never win.
It'll be offensive coordinator will be Nathaniel Hackett, and the head coach will be Arthur Smith. They'll be able to field a couple coaches, but past that,
yeah, it just doesn't work.
Unbelievable. Seriously though, how much of a disadvantage would a London team have to recruit player?
Brutal.
You think you're getting a top 5 flight quarterback to come to your squad when he's a free agent? Give me a break. I'm sorry. I don't mean any offense to London. I'm sure London's amazing.
No.
Okay, and I'd love to go to
the
London.
Fans seem cool.
Yeah, fans seem cool. London's amazing, I'm sure. But we're talking about football games that are played here in the United States, and everybody wants to they just want to get their hand into this thing, and I get that. And the NFL wants to just get their money, and that's all it is to it. I don't know. What do you think about Jalen Hurts? Actually, what do you think about AR5 in his shoulder? There's nothing really to even be worried about here unless you're trying to predict that he's got some problem, which we have no sign of that at all. But I hope he drops an ADP.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing. If he can drop a few spots in ADP, that's awesome. And because I also think that as time goes on, JD5 is going to keep moving up because there's a weird gap right now with quarterbacks once you get to AR5 and Burrow, and then it jumps to 40 or 50 spots or something like that. I think it's Caleb and JD5. So that gap might start closing a little bit. And in terms of the injury, it's so far out. Until I hear something more serious, then I don't worry.
Yeah. A lot of the things I was hearing, and I think they even talked about this, I think on ESPN as well, but just that he's like throwing so much right now that he's never thrown this much before. On top of, he was not ready yet because he was coming back. Like he even said on the Pat McAfee show, he's 90%, strong there. And he's out there overthrowing, trying to make up for lost time, and it's just like making him sore. It's like not even necessarily related to the shoulder injury at all. It's just he has a sore shoulder, and they're like, hey, let's not give him some sort of like rotator cuff problem, and we just got him back. Let's not create some isolated, unrelated shoulder injury by making him overthrow because he was kind of fatigued because he's still recovering. He's still not 100%. He's 95%, he said. He could have lied and said, yeah, I'm good. But he gave an honest answer. He said, I'm 95%. That's kind of a weird answer from, the honesty there because most people just lie about it. They're like, I'm good. He said 95%. He's out there probably throwing as if he was 100%. So, of course, he's going to be sore. I'm not worried at all about AR5. I think it's going to be fine. The injury risk is there. It is what it is. Some people don't want to take on injury risk at all. They're scared of Scotties, and that's fine. I don't think there's much risk at, like you said, if he falls to that like Caleb JD5 territory. I love the idea of getting AR5 and JD5 in a best ball draft, even one QB bully, like do a bully light on that bully QB light by grabbing your two bully quarterbacks in the 6th and 7th round back to back or whatever.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if he falls, how much it will be, because what is he? He's 56 right now. So if he could fall to that, even 7 or 8 spots, half a round, that makes a big difference.
Thomas says, I'll take early Sunday football any day, 6 a.m. I don't know. I mean, that maybe you're up at 6 a.m. That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
Doesn't help me. I'd rather... I mean, can't they do like here's, what I would say? Make the time work for us. If you're going to take the game away from us, the regular fan base in the United States, it's a game inside the United States. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but the NFL is in the United States. It's our game. If you're going to take it from us, at least make the time work for us. Put it in the middle of the day. Like figure out how to inconvenience London and allow us to have our game at the right time. That's all I ask. It's a small request that won't be granted.
Yeah. No, because they want to grow the game overseas, so that's why they cater to that. So
it's 1 a.m. in London. Ziggy, what time is it in London? 1 a.m.
In London, it's 2:03.
2:03. Okay, so it's 2:03. So 4 hours from now would be 10, which would be 1 a. It does become complicated. There's not a very good middle ground, but maybe 5. Right. So maybe you make the game at 5 a.m. in London. We're doing it at 6 a.m. Why can't they do it at 5? And there it's 9 o'clock.
That would be noon Eastern.
No. Would it be noon? No, it wouldn't be noon Eastern. It would be.
Well, it'd be. If it's 2 a.m. right now. Oh, is it 2 a.m.
I'm saying you do 5 a.m. London time. That puts it at 10 p.m. Eastern or 10 p.m. West Coast, or it puts it at 9 p.m. West Coast, I believe. I think I have the numbers right. And then 1 a.m. Eastern, right? Because if it's 2 a.m. now. So if we were to inch 2 a.m. down to 5 a.m., right? So we're going 3 hours from now. So let's say we're play the game in 3 hours. Yeah. If we played the game in 3 hours, it would be 9 p.m. my time, Arizona time, midnight Eastern, and then it would be 5 a.m. in London. Like do that. Like if you gave me a 10 p.m. game, I'm a 9 p.m. game. I'm okay with that. Give me a late game, sure. 10 p.m. game, 9 p.m. game?
Technically,
sure.
It would be better for the players because they wouldn't have to switch time zones. They'd still be on a time closer to what they're used to. I get with the sun is out certain times of day, all that stuff. But
Charles T's one of my international peeps. He's been here forever. So Charles, were you offended by my take? I'm sure you weren't. I'm sure he's not. Charles is tough. It's 3:03 his time. So yeah, perfect. 6 a.m. your time would be a 9 p.m. game. You know, they could do that. Or 6 a.m. You get up at 6 a.m., you watch the game. Thomas is okay with watching it at 6 a.m. Why can't you guys? I don't know. I'm probably pissing off a few people, but look, I mean, I don't feel bad saying that it should not be catered around people outside of the U.S. It should be available. No doubt about it. I want to grow this game. I love that Charles T's here. The fact that Charles T comes to my show every day from Germany, I mean, hats off to this man.
Mashed potatoes.
Charles T to Saturn. To Saturn.
To Saturn.
So that has nothing to do with my respect for Charles T. But I just don't think the entire NFL watching community should be forced to watch a game at 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. I just don't get it. Anyway, I mean, we already got to jump through hoops, you know, to go to Peacock, then over to Amazon Prime, then back over to Netflix, and then back over to the gardening channel. I mean, we got to jump all over to find these games anyway. Now we got to do it with time zones. Now we got to do it at 6 a.m. You're telling me I got to get up and wait for Martha Stewart to end, and then all of a sudden on the gardening channel for the Germany game to load? Whatever.
Yeah, and like you said, then when you bring in the safety side of things, where you can't wear a certain color because, I don't know if it's a gang or someone said it's because of the opposing soccer team in that area wearing green, so it's like the soccer hooligan's going to beat you up. Or like, if there's something dangerous for fans and players, it's like, well, why are we going?
Why are you sending two NFL teams to a location where you can't wear green in your uniform? It's like you're saying, hey guys, when you're out and about today, don't wear your green, fit. Your all green fit out to the clubs later when you're going to the Brazil clubs later tonight. Okay, just little rule, little club rule. No green glasses, no green, green shoes, no green. Just keep the green off of the streets. Just because of the danger, you might get mixed up with something, right? That's understandable. But you can't even play this game with your green uniforms. They're gonna take all the green off of the helmet, all the green off hair. What are they gonna wear? It's gonna look like you're watching a TV without any sort of like color on the screen. We're just gonna see white uniform. Like, what happened to my TV? There's no color on the field. It's just all white. It's got all white uniforms. They're gonna take they're gonna dye the field. Can the field be green? Is the field gonna be? Are they gonna dye it? Like, what does that look? What's it gonna look like? Can you not have any green lettuce? Is the lettuce ruled out from the stadium? Can't have green lettuce. Can't have a green uniform. Yet we're willing to send our players over there because it's so safe. No green, no game. You know what the NFL is getting? A lot of green this way. little money.
That's what they care about. Speaking of no colors, do you see the what's it called? The Winter Warrior Vikings jerseys? Pretty cool looking.
Yeah, I got those right here. They look really, really solid. So do the Vikings and the Bengals. These amazing, they could wear these. But the problem is, do the Eagles, if they can make a version of this, is there going to be green on it? Like the Vikings have purple on it. The Bengals have orange in their colors. Like, what a crock, man! You can't even go and play with your colors on your jersey.
It's ridiculous. The
green light. Yeah, what do they do?
Put out some other uniform too.
Unbelievable. No green lights. No green lights, no lettuce. Crazy, bro.
Foolish.
Anything else on your mind in regarding this news? Let me see if there's any other news breaking anywhere. Sam Howell, instead of waiting on a quarterback, I'm trying to see what Shefty's talking about. Here's this news report. Teams are likely to be forced to stay in their hotel all week and travel in armored vehicles when they go to the Brazil game. They're going to be in armored vehicle. Unbelievable. How ashamed
the players want to go there.
How ashamed the NFL should be right now. They should be ashamed of themselves. These players got to travel in armored vehicles. That's what this report says. Travel in armored vehicles. Cannot leave the hotel room. Cannot wear their green uniforms. This is the Packers and the Eagles. The most green teams you could find uniform wise are the Packers and the Eagles. Who made this stupid schedule? You know what I blame for this? Taylor Swift. It came down to Taylor Swift's concert and having to put these two teams at risk over here and say, good God, I hope we don't screw up these uniforms. They literally, this is Taylor Swift's fault. They prioritized Taylor Swift over this. Unbelievable. These are the two most green jersey teams you'll find in the Green Bay Packers and the Eagles. Their jerseys are all green. And then there's the white numbers and then some trim in black for the Eagles and some trim in yellow for the Packers. You couldn't have found two worse teams to send down to Brazil. Who the hell's thinking this stuff up over in that front office? Let me go over to John. John, I swear, John, if you disagree with me on this one, I'm hanging up the phone line.
I think there's a couple of super chats.
I'm putting my finger over the button. Go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, I think the players should just wear whatever they want. Like, I mean, they're paying all this money for security, staying in the
They're
hotels,
gonna get
may as well.
Finish him.
I haven't hung up on him yet, but you want to put my beloved Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts in jeopardy, at risk? When are we ever going to agree on anything, John? I'm not saying I'm happy about it. You think I'm sending Jalen Hurts out there in a green trench coat? What is wrong with you?
Maybe not a green trench coat, but it would be kind of cool to see the Packers in like all yellow uniforms or something.
Yeah, but you just said you wanted the players to wear whatever they want. I'm
like if they can't wear green, then maybe make it, like, what are the color options available?
Well, I mean, it's probably it can't be both white. So one of the teams will probably be all decked out in white and yellow. That'll probably be the Green Bay Packers. I imagine the Eagles very much easy could go to black. One of their colors is that black color. So you'd have all black uniforms with white. So it's going to be all black and white, all yellow and white, I would imagine. There's no other way you could do it. Which maybe they make a cool looking uniform. I don't know. But what a crock. What a freaking crock. I'll tell you who gets the shaft on that is the Green Bay Packers, because yellow and white's going to be weird. It's going to look real weak. Whereas the Eagle uniforms, if they're all black and white, those are going to look like the Cardinal uniforms, which are baller.
Anyhow, I had a question in regards to Dontavian Wicks, Roman Wilson, and Quentin Johnston. Out of those three, who would you want? Do you think Quentin Johnston can have a resurgence here, along with Joshua Palmer?
So, Q.
Dontavian Wicks, Roman Wilson, and Quentin Johnston.
So I don't mean any disrespect to these three guys, but and I'm not trying to say they aren't good players. Let me see if I can get my focus going here. Come on, autofocus. Let's go. I think I don't really want to own any of these guys. I'm not saying Wicks doesn't have ability. I'm not saying Roman Wilson doesn't have upside. I'm not saying Quentin Richardson can't have some sort of improved year. But let me just break it down logically and pick one. I'll say that you've got a crowded potential wide receiver room in that we don't even know who's the one. This is very similar to the Green Bay Packers situation, although it's crowded, but unlike it, we know who, in my opinion, are the talents. That's Jaden Reed and Christian Watson. So we'll get to that with Wicks in a second. with Q Rich, we're hearing good things, but you've also got Rice, you've got McConkey, you've got a run-heavy system. You have already seen failure out of Richardson. He's a body catcher. He doesn't catch the football with his hands. He catches it with his body. And maybe he's working on that, but I think there's too many moving pieces for me to really love that pick. I'm not saying I don't take him at the very end of a draft. These are all guys I would put on any one of my best ball benches in hopes that they do something. I'm just kind of giving you a feel of like I'm not going out of my way to own any one of these guys. Wicks, I like Wicks a lot. He's a good talent. He's probably the safest of these three, but I do believe that you've got not only Dobbs to compete with for him, not only Luke Musgrave, not only Kraft, not only Josh Jacobs, but you have the two best bona fide wide receiver 1 and 2s on the team in Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. Maybe Watson gets injured again, and if you predict that to be the case, then Wicks would probably be the safest one if you think Watson's going to get hurt. If he doesn't, then there's really only a wide receiver 3 spot available for Wicks. If he's lucky and he's got Dobbs to compete with on that, it's 4 wide receivers there. And Luke Musgrave, like I said, there's a lot of mouths to feed. Not a horrible pick, not bad on your bench, but there's no way I'm like drafting this guy and expecting to ever play him. In best ball, he'll probably find a way into my lineup 1 or 2 times, but I'll take him at the end. Roman Wilson's the one guy I probably would go with. The reason I do that is Pickens is kind of a question mark mentally for me. I love his skill set, but he seems like a guy that's going to get all pissed off if things don't go his way. And I feel like there's just more of a pathway to the locked-in wide receiver 2 role. Wicks can't, I think, get into that very easily. Quentin Richardson might be in that, but he's failed. So I'm not like feeling like he's cemented in, whereas I think Roman Wilson will be cemented in. So I'm probably going to go Wilson, but it's not an easy call, and I don't really like any one of the 3 in terms of like counting on them.
Do you think Wilson could be Deontay Johnson and just get like peppered with like 100 targets?
Sure. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Wicks is the safest, even off of everything I said. Quentin Johnston's the disappointment, and Wilson's the unknown that has upside. So if you want to go with something new, because Wicks and Richardson probably feel capped, then maybe Wilson isn't capped. We don't really know. So give me the gamble.
And then can I ask one more question?
Sure, John. As long as it isn't about sending Hurts or Jordan Love out into the streets of Brazil in green.
What are your thoughts on Jermaine Burton out of Cincy? I know I think it was like a round 1 or round 2 pick, and a lot of teams passed him up for off the field issues, or he had some sort of issue around him. Do you think he could step in and take T. Higgins' role, or be better than T. Higgins and climb into maybe a top 20 wide receiver, top 15?
I don't think he takes T. Higgins' role unless T. Higgins gets hurt. But if Higgins gets hurt, then there's a huge opportunity. Huge. I think T. Higgins could still potentially get traded. The one thing that makes me really like Burton right now, I like McMillan and Burton a lot. They kind of remind me, they're very similar players in a sense that you're getting both of them at screaming steals. McMillan is the receiver, the rookie receiver, same kind of receiver, totally doubted, big, huge prospect. Burton and McMillan were both top 5, wide receiver candidates at one point during their prospecting process, like early on. Burton has the best chance of, if he has something, this is why the Bengals have not extended or given a contract to T. Higgins. That they're trying to see if they can do this cheaper and get a guy just as good. And Burton is definitely, he fits the bill, 100%. I can't think of a better potential player that deep in a draft other than like Ricky Pearsall, who didn't drop. Like that would have been the guy I wanted, who could have went in the second round easily if the Niners didn't take him early. So Pearsall was off the board. McConkey, he's got a lot of upside too to be that kind of guy for like a Burrow, but he went to the Chargers. And then you start getting like into the deeper territory of player. Where are they? Who has the potential? Well, it's Burton and it's McMillan. I love both of them. And we just got to see him on the field. He's got to keep his head straight. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to deliver when he's given an opportunity. He probably will have flashes of greatness because he's the wide receiver 3. He'll get a lot of open opportunities because defenses will be clamping down on the stud wide receivers and Higgins and obviously Jamar Chase. But if Higgins gets hurt or traded, then he's not going to be a sleeper anymore. Everyone's going to be all over this kid. He's going to be going so high in drafts, man. So I love him. I love him. Dynasty, love him. Scoop him up.
Appreciate it, Smitty. Have a great night, man.
All right, later, John.
Hey, real quick, what do you think of Charlie Jones? You think the ship sailed on him, or?
It's kind of like that the Kyron conversation a little bit. I hate to use that example because I'm not saying Charlie Jones is Kyron. In a wide receiver form. But we can't just write somebody off because they missed their rookie year. Same thing with Kendre Miller. We can't ignore Kendre Miller because he didn't show up when we expected him to. So there's a real opportunity for Charlie, I guess. But it sounds like Burton is the pick for them to be their replacement for Higgins. So I kind of feel like Ronnie Bell in San Francisco, who I freaking love. They took Ricky Parasol. They obviously do not think highly of Ronnie Bell, and it's unfortunate. So I kind of feel like the same thing about Charlie Jones. They probably view him as a good complement type player, but they don't see him as the number 2. I don't think they even have a hope that he becomes that. Burton is going to be unbelievable, an unbelievable player.
Yeah, I like him. Sure.
Yeah, Burton's got a nice upside. As does McMillan, though. They're both really, really good. The only thing I'd say is Burton's got the quarterback and team and offensive situation. McMillan, who knows if that changes for him, though.
Yeah. Speaking of guys who have really fallen by the wayside, you see Treylon Burks is running special teams now.
Yeah.
Just brutal. Considering that was the return for A.J. Brown.
Yeah. Pete dropping a $2 hauler says, "Can you double stamp a triple stamp?" I'll figure out a way to do that. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's possible, but double stamping a triple stamp. You could triple stamp a double stamp, but it's hard to double stamp a triple stamp. But I'll figure out a way to do it. Thank you, Pete, for dropping that. Our pets' heads are falling off over here. Make the game across the pond 6 a.m. The Brits would love an excuse to hit the pub before dawn. See, the Brits wouldn't care about what time we made it. We could call up the Brits right now and say, hey, let's make this convenient for us. We just want the game at freaking the normal time, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. my time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Is that doable? Brits would be like, I don't care. You can make it at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. We'll go to the pub at 1 a.m., prepare for it, and we'll watch the game at 3 a.m. They don't care. That's how it should be. That's how the relationship should be between the receiving team or the receiving country that's allowed to use our game and players and we're probably supplying the armored trucks. All right. Thank you, E Rock. Appreciate you. What else we got? Ronnie Bell just doesn't protect the ball with consistency, sadly, says Jolts. Well, you know what? He hasn't been given a shot, bro. He also scored 3 touchdowns to your precious Jennings' 1. Jennings had 19 catches and got a $10.5 million guaranteed extension. Pretty bird. Says Hoosiers. Easy had a question. Let me see. Easy saying, "Can you ask Smitty a question?" Let me see where Easy's question is. I see it, Easy. I got you. Easy says, or is that, what is his name? Easy said, "LOL. Would love the question I got. I'd be selling my soul for CMC in a dynasty. Guy wants 25, 26, 27 first and James Cook for his CMC. 25, 26, 27 first rounders and James Cook. Why would you do that? Easy? Why would you be that easy? Why would you be that easy for CMC? Like, you're not only selling your soul, you're selling like your entire like lineage and their souls, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, I think most people would give CMC up for a good 25 first rounder. Like, if you could say I'm getting a 2 or 3 maybe. CMC's got this 1 year. You try and get more, certainly, but you're giving up a 25 first, 26. This is the kind of trade that like everyone's gonna rip into you like crazy, and you're gonna have this like you're gonna have a red face. You're gonna get all blushed. I'm not. I'm just laughing. That's what I got sent. Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. That is pretty bad. But I don't know. Do you Easy? I'm not calling you a liar, but do you buy it? Here, Easy. Cover your ears. Put earmuffs on. Travis, do you believe that he's just acting like he wasn't going to accept it now?
Well, right away I said he's tempted if he's asking the question.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear you.
What I was saying.
Yeah. His wasn't. Hey, tells right here. Where is it? Travis, can you ask Smitty for me? See, it wasn't like you said, "Hey, Travis, can you tell Smitty the story?" he said, "Can you ask Smitty for me?" Easy. I got a psych degree. We've already gone over this. Don't think I can't analyze you, bro. You were leaning. You were leaning in. And then I'm glad you messaged though. we diverted that. But yeah, it wasn't like, "Hey, tell Smitty the story." It was like, "Can you ask Smitty?" Oh, I wasn't going to do it. I love you, Easy. I appreciate you, pal. Don't get mad at me.
Brian Gibbs in the chat was just saying he's looking for a dynasty league to join, and I would just say anyone who's looking for leagues, if you join the Patreon, there's a whole area that people will be offering up leagues all the time.
Yeah. So tonight we're gonna be doing the underdog drafts. Promo code Smitty. The link is pinned in the live chat. Click that link right now. I'm about to swap it out. So if you haven't signed up right now, click the link. That'll get you into drafts. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty will also get it done. 50% match on your first deposit. I'll drop the link one more time in the live chat because I'm going to replace the pin link with the Patreon link. So if you guys want to become a Patreon member, and let me see here, Patreon. Let me copy this link. Patreon is where our community lives. Let me hit the Patreon link. Where's my? Damn it! Everything is like not working today. Hold on. Here we go, Patreon. Boom. Here's the Patreon. Here's the link for Patreon. I'm going to pin that link in the live chat for Patreon. And this link right here, ladies and gentlemen, not only do you get 10 live chats, 365, 24/7, it's where our community lives. And I promise you, if any of you have even joined and you're happy with it, you're like, yeah, this is pretty good. It's only going to get faster. Like, well, if you pose a question, the response rate's going to increase exponentially as we get more and more and more people, right? Because there's more people awake when that person's asking something in the live chat. We got 10 live chats, $10 per month, cancel anytime. So it's like $10. Try it once. Don't drink maybe 1 cup of coffee this month. Try it out. See if you can't live without the live chats. Also right here, exclusive videos and write-ups that I'll put on Patreon. And like this example here of Jalen McMillan. And why he's such a big sleeper candidate for me. And then we also have this first 200 members, and then there's this small little detail. First 200 members get into a 242-man league, and the winners of each, and it's gonna be 11 leagues, right? 11 leagues times 22 people. 22 people in each league. 1 QB, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, best ball, 4 bench spots. So the strategy through the room, to the roof, to the moon, whatever. And you basically will draft live in a marathon, all 11 drafts, I think back to back. We might have to divide it into teams. Charles T just became a member. Charles T to the moon. Charles T, appreciate you. Charles T just joining. But so you're gonna be in. Just hang tight. I'm gonna slowly get everybody the links to the Patreon League. It's not like we're starting right now. It's gonna be in August, and we're gonna draft on a Saturday during a blitz of them. And I can't consider people's schedule. There's 242 people in it, so you'll have to pre-rank if you can't make the exact draft date. But there'll be waves, so I'll be able to kind of give you an estimate later, not now. Don't ask me about it now. You're not gonna get an answer. But on that Saturday in August, say early August, I'll be able to kind of ballpark when the start time will be, because we'll be able to calculate how long the draft is. 30-second timer. First draft is 22 people, 8 rounds, 4 starters, 4 bench spots, best ball, no lineups, no ad drops, no trades. It's one and done. And then essentially, we'll know the time frame roughly that the second draft will start. So I'll be able to tell people what their wave is, kind of like if you were doing a track meet and you're in different heats. But the first 200 people get into this league. Now, what's special about the league? The winner of each of the 11 leagues goes into the official The Fantasy Football Show Dynasty Startup Draft that will take place in 2025. So 11 people and myself will draft in this Dynasty Startup, and it will be the 11 winners of the 11 leagues. And if I win one, the person below will get the spot, obviously, because I'm already in the Dynasty League. Let me get this super chat out of the way real quick, Travis. So join that Patreon. The link has been pinned. Thank you, Charles T, for joining. Appreciate you. CMC for Chase Dynasty Superflex format. Why would you even? Why are people even talking about CMC? This is what I was talking about yesterday. That contract's gonna make someone value him a little more. Why are we talking about Christian McCaffrey and Jamar Chase even being remotely close to one another in a dynasty? Like, Christian McCaffrey's not even close to a first-round pick. In a dynasty superflex, he's not even close to being a second-round pick. I don't understand it. The contract's making people think he's going to live forever. Like, he signed a big contract, therefore he's playing 3 more elite years. It's not how it works. Like, Chase has value miles above Christian McCaffrey in a dynasty, Giancarlo. Giancarlo, I'm only being passionate about my answer so you understand how strongly I feel about it. You know I love you, pal. And $9 haulers not only get moonshots
to the moon,
but I'm also going to
Saturn.
I'm also going to send you to Saturn. So, okay, so if you're making this trade, though, the way you're wording it, sometimes people word it backwards, then you, of course, take Jamar Chase. But you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that. Jolts, you're a Niner fan. Of course you're going to say this. You've already tipped your hand to that. We know your CMC is him for another 2 years still, Smitty. Oh, okay. Cool story, Jolts. I don't think so. 1 year, yeah, maybe. We're hoping. But no. The odds are extremely against it. Extremely against it. There's only Derrick Henry to tell the story. He's the only one that's ever made it in recent years when the age has changed to 28 as the drop-off year. There are very few players that play well at 28. 28 is possible. It's not likely, but it's very possible. CMC could definitely be elite, Jolts, for 1 more year at the age of 28. Dean Carlos says, of course. Okay, so he must be doing it the other way. Sometimes people word it backwards. CMC for Chase. You just better be getting Chase. If you get Jamar Chase, smash the hell out of that. But expect it to maybe get vetoed. Because Jamar Chase has miles of value above Christian McCaffrey in a dynasty. It's not even close. Patreon, we got Cincy Kid who just joined the Patreon. Welcome, Cincy Kid. Charles T, appreciate you joining as well. We got Andy who just joined. Andy, appreciate you joining the Patreon. People filing on into the Patreon. I'm going to even go in there real quickly into the general section and say welcome. It was Charles T. Welcome. Charles, welcome, Cincy Kid, and who was the other one? Andy. Just sent you a message in the general chat. Appreciate you guys joining. I mean, am I wrong, Travis? I mean, McCaffrey's nowhere near Jamar Chase in a dynasty startup or existing.
Not my opinion.
Yeah, I don't even get that. This one, Kyron keeps.
CMC is a one year deal basically in dynasty, year to year.
Yeah, Kyron keeps falling, 3rd round steal. We have this right here. Where is this? Where's Here's Kobo with a $5 hauler. Somebody said that Kyron was falling to round 4 on the regular for them on Underdog. I've started to see it. I definitely, unfortunately, haven't seen it happen every time yet, but I've seen it, and I think it's coming. Smitty's Patreon is going to the moon. Love the community. Awesome group of people. The JD5 troll today was priceless. Patreon will evolve into something special. Look, what he's talking about is Patreon or on Instagram. I got a few complaints from some followers that in my comment section, and they basically just said that I am creating too much Instagram content on JD5, and that like 4 out of the last 10 posts that I have were about JD5, and so I had to initiate this video to explain, maybe I was overdoing it. So here's what I sent out on Instagram.
It was brought to my attention I might be talking a little bit too much about the same topic lately. I've been doing a lot of JD5 posts, and I know people are saying, Smitty, I wish you could create more diverse content. You've been like 4 of your last 10 posts have been about JD5, and I just said, I don't know. I guess my reaction wasn't really the best. So I want to first acknowledge that and just say, no one's perfect. I'm always trying to get better. And I do think you won't hear any more. I'm gonna stay away from JD5 content. Never. Come on, bro. Buckle up, baby.
I just want to apologize for absolutely nothing. It's weird. It's weird though. People have some entitlement about content, and I do a 2.5 hour live stream. A lot of the time, I'll do a 4-hour live stream during the season. Sometimes back to back, Monday through Friday. My 8 p.m. show a lot of times is 4 hours, 3 hours, with an open phone line for any of you complaining Calebs to come into the show and change the topic anytime your little heart desires. You want to hear about Burton? You call in and ask about him. You want to hear about Burton? Super chat for $1.99, $5.99, whatever. I'm not even saying you have to super chat, but you could change the narrative of the show immediately by dropping a super chat at any moment. And so for anybody to complain about how I talk too much about any one player, especially a lot of people will say you need to change the name of the show to the Ayuk show. Ayuk is in the news constantly. And if you want somebody that's not going to discuss the new evolving Ayuk news when it happens, which you haven't heard me talk about Ayuk today or really yesterday unless somebody asked about it, and I keep it as short as I can. But every time I do an Ayuk video, it's because there's brand new Ayuk news. But if you believe that I don't create enough content, that I don't create enough opportunity to blow every other content creator out of the water in terms of the amount of other content I create other than these repeated topics, then you A, aren't paying attention, and B, there's no attendance here. You don't have to be here. I want you to be here. I do. And I want to turn every negative Nancy and hater around to love the show. We've done that with a bunch of people. People said I called in and I was a hater. Now I absolutely love the show. Or I used to watch the show and I stopped for some dumb reason. I don't know why I did it, but I'm back, Smitty. And the honest truth is I create more content than anybody. And if I'm doing a 3-hour show, 2-hour show, 3.5-hour show, you don't think I'm creating mountains of content more on all these other topics than anybody by myself. And then you've got the extra 30 minutes of Ayuk you didn't want to hear again. Or the extra 20 minutes on JD5 you didn't want to hear again. Poor you. You got a little overdose of JD5 with about 2 hours of other content. You can call in anytime you want. And all these people on Instagram that get so mad in the comments, none of this bothers me, by the way. I've got such thick skin you don't know. People say, Smitty, you're sensitive. I'm not sensitive. I'm passionate and I clap back. That's all it is. It's not. When I end the live stream, I walk out. I'm gonna be smiling. I'm not upset. Nothing bothers me like that. But I will clap back. I will let someone know. And when someone, and especially on Instagram, somebody says something like, hey, Smitty, I'm going to stop following your page if you keep posting about JD5. You know what I'm doing the very next post? Posting about JD5. And you know, when someone called into the show one time and says, if you say another, or no, they didn't call, they just messaged, I think. If you say Achan's name again, I'm going to leave and unsubscribe. I said, okay. We went to the board, and how many times did I say Achan? Was it like 2,500 times? Right there. As soon as he said he was leaving, if I said Achan's name again, I said, Achan. 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 And I believe it was like 1,800 or 2,500 times in a row. 30 minutes of the show gone like that because of a stupid comment like that. Look, you watch me not because I'm always right. I'm not an idiot. I don't need a cookie. I know I've landed some things. I don't land some things. I'm a human being. I make mistakes. My best years, I'll be 75% right on everything I say. That's my best year I've ever had. No one's getting more accurate than that. I'm going to miss stuff. But if I'm not more accurate than I am inaccurate, you wouldn't be here, right? And you also are here to hear my opinion. And if my opinion is anti-Caleb Williams, if I think Caleb's going to bust and I don't leave it alone, you're here to hear my opinion, whether you agree with it or not. And I'm not going to change it because some sensitive Caleb believer is going to come in here and say, stop picking on Caleb. That's my quarterback. I have no other choice but to follow him to the slaughter, Smitty. Can you leave Caleb alone? The answer is no, because my job is to tell you what I feel. I could be wrong, and that's fine. But I'm still going to continue to, when I see a player is going to bust, to beat the drum, to beat the dead horse on the topic, because I don't want my people to draft a player I believe won't succeed at the expectation level. I'm wrong all the time. So if you feel I'm wrong, don't follow me down that path. That's completely fine. But you're not going to hear me dial back. It's only hate. Smitty, you just hate on Shanahan and the Niners. I don't hate on the Niners. I love Deebo Samuel. We're not avoiding Christian McCaffrey. We're not avoiding any Niner player. I love Isaac Guerendo. I love Ricky Pearsall. You probably won't find a content creator that loves Ricky Pearsall, Guerendo, and Deebo more than I do. But when you say something's hate, you know what it is? You disagree with me on it. Once you disagree with me on it, it becomes hate. Once you hear me say, oh, JD5 to the moon, JD5 is the best quarterback in the world, you love JD5, it's fine. But if I say, hey, I don't like this or that, then it becomes hate because you like that player. It's the way it is. Like, enjoy the show. You don't need to agree with everything I do. It doesn't need to make you upset. And for people that think they're going to be in my comments and say, you need to stop talking about JD5 or I'm going to unsubscribe. I never asked you to subscribe anyway, Bob. No one needs your complaining Caleb ass in the comments anyway. No one cares. All right. Are you still on the phone line there, Travis? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm here. On a rant, I wasn't going to interrupt that.
I got a steak to cook it. I told Miss Smitty I was getting off when the timer goes off in 7 minutes. I have an additional 4 minutes to end the show, no matter what's going on, because I got to go cook steaks on the grill. I promised her I'd do it, and I get off at the exact time. Coble, thank you for
we'll be back tonight.
You what?
We'll be back tonight.
Yeah, I'll be back tonight to draft for sure. And that's a good reason to get off early, to make sure that I come back. Smitty, you're a workhorse with content. Dunked. Appreciate you, Coble. Look, I'm not going to go on a rant again on it. I'm not saying I'm always right. I could be wrong on Caleb. I admit I could be wrong on Caleb. I just don't think I'm going to be. But even if I am wrong on Caleb, I do not think I'm wrong on JD5. That I feel in my bones. This is the Mahomes. Like when I like Josh Allen and Mahomes more than anybody could possibly, you can't find a single soul on this planet Earth that was creating content. Not just your Uncle Bob, who's a Chiefs fan. You will not find a single soul on planet Earth that liked Mahomes more than I did and that like Josh Allen more than I did. You won't. And anybody that's an OG and a diehard with me knows, because I said both of them would be top, not 5, top 1 to 5 each before they ever even played it down, before they ever threw a practice pass. And they certainly didn't have the starting job when I said these things. And look, I'm going to miss. I also liked players like, just to throw myself under the bus, I like Trent Richardson. Wasn't that the Green Bay or the Browns running back? I love Trent Richardson. I thought he was going to be a star. I loved David Wilson for the Giants. I thought he was going to be a star. I loved Charles Rogers. Kept breaking his collarbone for the Detroit Lions. There are a lot of players that we think are going to do well that don't. And so that happens. And even Trey Lance. I love Trey Lance. Trey Lance got busted on by Shanahan, not himself, but that's neither here nor there. But I feel it in my bones. This is the Mahomes and Josh Allen. I liked Lance. Lance felt like I'd say like my Jordan Love prediction. Jordan Love's going to be really good. I really think he will be. Going to be good. That's how the Trey Lance vibe felt. The Mahomes and Josh Allen were like, I couldn't contain myself. I'm literally trying to go out on the freeway with a big sign and just continue to tell everybody. JD5 is that feeling. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. Okay, Rockout says, but JD5 is my QB. He will drop fire. Thank you, Rockout, for dropping the super chat. You're the man. Rockout to the moon. What else do I have here?
Something about Nabers, right?
What about Nabers?
I don't know. There's something about him in the show topic tonight. Nabers season. Did we talk about that?
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Just this remarkable catch right here. And everybody he's already going in the second round in some early best ball drafts.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like this catch right here. It's a remarkable catch, no doubt about it. Few problems, though. One being that this ball was not thrown by Daniel Jones. So this ball is being thrown by Drew Lock, and that's, Drew Lock maybe wins the job or something, but Daniel Jones is the starter right now. And then you also have, this is the Giants defense. You also have that they're in shorts, and you also have that, like, to be honest with you, like, I'm not saying that we can hype up JD5 throwing through a net with pristine accuracy, which I think is a measurable skill versus like you're playing catch and you make a good catch. This is a measurable skill here, but like I think, and maybe I can't today, but like when I was in my prime, I could have made that catch. Like it's not like that catch makes him like a god, but it was great to see, and it's very encouraging. What we heard though is he had a phenomenal practice from start to finish, and there were some that talked about it being like the best practice a Giants players ever had since Odell Beckham Jr. So people are very excited about him. Problem is, his offense is not going to change. His offense does not have the ability to live in the red zone. His offense probably doesn't feed him more than 5 to 6 touchdown passes. And so he's good in the late third to early fourth round, no doubt about it. If he fell there, I'd be probably the biggest Nabers drafter you'd find. Like, because everything's about ADP and cost of entry, but we know that this catch is going to move him back into round 2. We're already seeing it today in early drafts so far. Someone said he went 14 in their best ball draft just about an hour or two ago. He went 14 overall off of this catch. And I'm telling you, you're playing with fire. You're playing with fire that you can't even ignite. You can't even make a big fire with it. You got one piece of firewood for the whole year. There's just no way that he can sustain 14 overall value.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I'm gonna let you go here because I know the timer is gonna go off here for a second. We'll come back. Tonight.
Yeah, I'll be over on Patreon right now.
All right.
So if anyone wants to go over there.
Patreon link is linked. Thank you, pal. Later. Patreon link is pinned in the live chat. What's the Patreon, Smitty? What is the Patreon all about? Again, it's all about live chatting with everybody. And the great part about it, it's not like you're going into like the Instagram comments or something and having a chat. You're going to find all these familiar faces. The diehards of the show are here, and they're living here. And because it's a paid product, while it's not astronomically high and totally unaffordable, it's a significant enough amount that it keeps people that aren't serious out. And therefore, like, this is where you go to find people to start a league. This is where you go to get good trade advice. This is where you go to live. We have the, so when the show ends, this is where we're at. This is where I'm at. I live on this thing. Ziggy off. Ziggy, set a timer for 4 minutes. I got to hang up I got to get out of here in 4 minutes because.
4 minutes, starting now.
Thank you. 10 live chats, and if you look at this very bottom chat, you might be able to read it. It says Game Day Lounge and Start Bench. During any game, the London games, the Brazil games, the Sunday slate of games, the Sunday night game, the Monday night game, the Thursday game, the occasional Friday game, we will have everybody just piled in there, just talking away. Hey, what do you need? Oh, did you see that Bijan touchdown? Bijan punched in another touchdown. That's where we live. That alone is worth the $10 a month just to have a place to congregate during games, get starting lineup advice. This is where we're at. And not to mention the first 200 people, and we're definitely still have openings that will allow us to go to midnight with this thing, this offer. But first 200 people will get into the 240-man league. It'll be 11 best ball leagues, and the winner of each of those 11 leagues, there'll be 22 people in each league, and the lineups will be so small that you can do 22-man league with having one copy of each player. But the winners of the 11 separate 22-man leagues in this 242-man tournament, the 11 winners will be invited to go into the Dynasty League. That's the official startup Dynasty draft. It will be the main Dynasty channel draft and league. We'll draft it live, and you'll be a part of that Dynasty situation. Now, I will preface that if you do join the Patreon and you quit the Patreon, you still can stay in the league. We're not going to kick you out of the league. But if you do win, you're one of those 11, you got to be in good standing with the Patreon in order to advance. So they would go down to the next person if you would, let's say, bailed on your Patreon membership or whatever. So we're trying to reward people for being loyal Patreon members by creating this tournament, creating these leagues, and creating the Dynasty League for people that are ride and die with the channel. Appreciate you all. Golf says 8,000 new subs for Smitty in 1 year. Is that what we did? Do you remember? Did you look at that or something? I don't know. Appreciate you. Rock out. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you all of my super chatters. We had John, we had Calvin Krim, we had Pete, we had E-Rock, we had That Boy, we had Kobo, and Rock out. Thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you all for being here. Hit that link. That link's pinned in the live chat for the Patreon. It's so much better than Discord. You know, it's all quality people in there. It's so positive. There's not a negative soul in there because everybody's there to help each other. Thank you to my mods. Appreciate you. Terry's out there. Terry, I see you. Appreciate you. Travis, Blackbeard, Space Ricky, any of my mods that are out there right now. Appreciate Golf Life. Ray G in the building. Superfish, J Claus, appreciate you. John, I even appreciate you. Thank you again, Blackbeard. Thank you, Outlaws out on the Patreon. Alan M just joined the Patreon. He said he was, who was he? Alan M is, I think, Cincy Kid, right? So Alan M, appreciate you joining the Patreon. Again, we had Andy as well join, Charles T. We've had a few people join, I think, since that as well. So I'll see you guys all tonight on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, and to draft, you're again going to want to hit this link and make sure you're signed up for Underdog. In order to draft tonight, you have to be ready to go. So hit that link. I just dropped it in the live chat. Code Smitty gets it done as well. But that link will insert code Smitty for you. Match 50% of your first deposit all the way up to $250, but the minimum is only $10. So if you do $10, they'll match 50%, so you get $5. The drafts we'll do tonight will be the Super Flex $5 puppies. So if you do the $10 minimum, you'll be able to do 3 drafts at your leisure, one of which we'll do tonight together. I'll see you all on the show tonight.
There are 2 5s? KD5? AR5? There can't be.
Oh no. They're gonna cross streams. Dude!